Hello again. You know, someone said to me the other day, didn't you used to be Dickie Davis? Well, I can assure you I still am Dickie Davis, and this is still ITV's World of Sport, the most popular Saturday sports show ever. Now for a look at the national sport, which began and ended our show every single week. A little bit of footy. On me head, son.
For any 70s kid, the choice was stark. Posh Blue Peter on the Beeb or Working Class Magpie on ITV. For footy fans, however, it was a no-brainer. You had to be on the ball.
On the Ball was one of those shows that would make you switch away from the BBC and would be part of your Saturday afternoon because they did football really well.
But On the Ball would have been a deflated old pig's bladder without the governor between the sticks. There's only one, Brian Moore.
Brian Moore was, in my view, the best football commentator, was Brian. He had a passion for it, he had immense knowledge, and you felt when he was commentating it came from in there.
Oh, he's shaken off Jardine there, and that's a good shot. Oh, it's there! Jerry Francis! Oh, Jerry Francis, a beautiful goal!
Moore was a real football man, and I think the football fans, they recognise that.
Always keen to gazump Auntie Beeb, On the Ball even managed to pair up the hottest sex symbol of the day with Raquel Welch.
I found myself sitting there with this lady alongside me with the cameras on during the match, explaining what I could about the game, and she was great fun to be with.
Look at him.
He's just standing there. He's trying to stop the goalkeeper coming out one way, and in the end you see he makes him kick it off his weak foot. So he makes
but Jimmy had to take it on the chin when Miss Welsh made it clear that she loved another.
Peter Osgood then was Chelsea's number 9 and the big name, and I managed to get the Chelsea manager to let Peter Osgood do an interview with her.
Hello.
There it is,
Hello.
Peter Osgood, Raquel Welch.
And she says, oh, hi Ozzy, as if she'd known him all her life. You know, and Ozzy sort of blinked a bit. And, I'm very well, thank you.
In 1985, On the Ball underwent a serious makeover, thanks to football's very own Laurel and Hardy, Saint and Greasy.
It was a marriage made in heaven, really, to be honest, the Saints and Greavesy, and it was great television. Great bit of casting, but that's what World of Sport was very good at, you see, casting.
This is the immortal £10 note.
Well, thank you very much.
So I'll present it to you next week.
Saint and Greavesy were the guys in the pub. They knew what football fans were thinking. They could vocalise what football fans were thinking. They could cut through the crap.
I've got the ID card
Yes.
here. This is the new ID card for our Minister of Sport. And on behalf of millions of fans, Mr Minister, I'm going to do to this what they all have requested me to do.
John, don't.
And I'd like to... thank you, Minister. Yes, yes.
It's very much like playing the game of football when you're working with a partner on television, because, you know, if you're in football, you know what his strength is, and you know the type of ball he might want. Like Jimmy being a goal scorer, you think, well, he likes it played there, he likes this kind of thing, and so I eventually learned what his strengths were.
And then Jimmy, a bit like he did as a player, would just turn up and do the killer gag, do the winning line, and then Saint would go and that was the formula, and it worked a treat.
Jesus Christ! I've just left his stomach back in the pit.
Yeah.
I don't care what anyone says, they introduced humour to sport in this country. Now a lot of people copy them. If you look at the fantasy football show, if you look at what they do in the mornings in Sky, I mean, it's Saint and Greavesy, 10 years on, 15 years on.
Whether it was Moro or Saint and Greavesy, your appetite for the beautiful game was now well and truly whetted. It was just a matter of counting down the hours until the Holy Grail.
We'd have this sting into it, you know. Da 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 da. Now it's time for the classified results. The full pools check now with Bob Colston.
Canon League Division 1. Birmingham 0, Southampton 0.
There was never any doubt with Bob. You always knew whether it was thumbs up or thumbs down.
Coventry 2, Norwich 1. Everton 3, Queen's Park Rangers 1. Ipswich 2, Aston Villa 1.
You indicate by your inflection to the listener what the result is on the first team, so that if you go on the upbeat, Arsenal 3, you know they've won, but if it's the downbeat, Arsenal 3, you know they've lost.
He'd have made a great heart specialist. Mr. Jones, we've got the results of your tests, and you're going to live. Mr. Smith, we've got the results of your tests, and you're going to die.
It's a funny old game, isn't it? You know, I'm often asked the most daring thing I've ever done, and I suppose it was when I risked a toilet break during a greyhound race. But here's some brave hearts who may have slightly overshadowed old DD on that score.
I think I compete against the greatest competitor in life when I jump, and that competitor is death. And when he beats you, you don't come back for any rematch.
There was a 2-year period when men on motorbikes jumping over buses or canyons was considered the most exciting thing going, and it would be front-page headlines if you know, another bus was added by whoever it was. People would say, no, you can't jump 21 buses. He's jumped 22.
Well, what he told me, Evan Knievel, as he looked down this ramp now, what he told me is you hang on, you get the right speed, and then you really will the bike over those 13 buses.
We went down to Wembley. It was a bank holiday Monday. Evil was going to do his jump live, you know, obviously live in front of the audience, but live on telly as well. And the place was at over 100,000 people. And you have to say that was the power of World of Sport.
And here he goes. It's full speed, and he's rising up the ramp now. And he's made it. No, he's crashed on the run-in. He's crashed on. I said that was the point where he would have the trouble.
And of course, our version of Evil Knievel was Eddie Kidd, who was this kind of beautiful boy, great sort of pin-up, and he started to do these stunts as well.
We'd seen Evil Knievel, who obviously was incredibly American. And then when you saw Eddie's attempts at doing it, he was very English.
This is it, I'm going there.
Oh, well done. You're sticking with that bike. You're satisfied with the bike now?
Yes, great.
Lovely. All the luck in the world.
Thank you very much.
Eddie Kidd. Got to get it up to 70, 75 mile an hour. The crowd are all cheering. Let's hope there's no trouble in. And there he goes. He's forward too much. No, what a fantastic jump. That must be the world record of all time.
There was one Eddie Kidd where he jumped over a load of buses and made the jump, but then sort of came off at the end.
And Eddie Kidd, the London Kid, is going to try and beat the Evil Knievel record. He's got to get in at full power at the 17-foot takeoff. And I think he's made it. He's done it. He's done it clean and so simply. And he's rushed in and he's into the ditch at the bottom.
There's lots of blokes in white coats who look like scientists. They're obviously not doctors of physics, because at one point they hold up a blanket to try and stop a motorbike that's going at about 70 mile an hour.
One bloke, I mean, he absolutely span into the air. It was, I have to say, it was fantastic. I reckon he could have cleared the buzzes himself. I think he was all right, I'm sure. If you're watching, mate, you know, it was worth it, believe me.
Oh, that really hurt, didn't it? Well, now, before we go to the news break, we continue our countdown of the most watched ITV sporting highlights. Enjoy.
In 1997, ITV outbid the old enemy for one of the crown jewels of sports broadcasting, Formula One.
Go! Nice start from Coulthard. Great start from Schumacher. Schumacher second. Schumacher has passed Mika Häkkinen already. And is going for the lead, and off goes. Now they're going to stop the race, no doubt about that at all. And that back at
1998's Canadian Grand Prix had not one but two false starts.
This is going to be another race stop.
The overrun unintentionally brought millions of anxious Coronation Street fans to the sport as they waited for their soapy fix.
Schumacher wins in Canada after yet another drive that proves what a magnificent driver he is.
At the Moscow Olympics in 1980, the future Lord Coe beat arch-rival Steve Ovett for the first time over 1,500 metres, winning gold in the process. But that was just the beginning.
We were very lucky that these two, after the immense competition in Moscow, could come back the following year and then just ran their hearts out in Oslo and Zurich, and world records just tumbling one after the other. It was like a mad 17 days when we're going from stadium to stadium saying it can't get better than this. And it did.
But Seb was determined to have the last word, and on a balmy night in Brussels, the mile had never seemed so sublimely golden.
It was total focus, total relaxation, total speed. I mean, everything, it was perfect. It was perfect running.
3:48.4, the world record is the time to beat. And Boyd is still hanging in there. And Coe coming in, the crowd are cheering him on. It's a wonderful run, it's unbelievable. The world record is regained by Sebastian Coe again tonight.
Well, my fastest mile was just under 5 minutes. Mind you, I was chasing Miss Sports World 1976 at the time. So please join us after the news when we bring you some sunshine, some Boston crabs,
and a crash,
and lots more.
I'm not sure if we should show that.
World of Sport continues after the ITV News.